Hi there, everybody, and welcome to Roll with Advantage. It's great to be here on this lovely Wednesday evening. Sorry to disappoint you if you were expecting the Tales of Everend. Not today. Sadly, a few players couldn't be there, but this turned out to be a perfect opportunity to do Yorick, or Ryan's, one-on-one shot for his return to the Isles group next session. So, if you've never been to one of these before, I like doing these one-on-one sessions if a player has to take more of an extended leave from a campaign for a certain period of time. So that way they don't go like a month or a month and a half without playing their character and then have to dive immediately back into the group. It helps them find their voice a little bit and helps them feel like they have a little bit of spotlight on their character before they go back into the group. So that is what we are doing today. No intro. However, this is not the Tales of Everend. This is the Isles of Iverion. So let's go ahead and dive in if you're ready, Ryan.
Ready as I can be. I've been looking forward to this for a long time, so I'm really excited to see what you come up with today. So let's do it.
Let's hope I don't let him down, everybody. So
He never has.
Let's go. All right. So with that, let's go ahead and dive in. So, Yorick, last we had seen your character, you had been right outside the Actors' Respite Inn, the stomping grounds of William Bosserman, just outside of the Bosserman Theater in Raven Rock. You bid farewell to your companions, Nalfian, Eurydice, Twig, and Lila, and you headed off with Aventahala. Something in the city of Dis, within the 9 layers of hell, the realms of Bator. Aventahala told you there was something there that needed to be taken care of. Something related to Glacia and her knights, and whatever her plans may be, now that she's left the City of Radiance. So, that is where we're going to go ahead and dive in. Yorick, upon stepping through the portal, there is this disorienting lurch due to her teleportation magic as it deposits you onto the scorched and ravaged plains of Avernus. The heat here is immediate and oppressive. Even with your resilience to fire damage, it still presses against your skin like a physical force. The air is thick with ash, and it carries this distant cacophony of battle, as you hear something you've only read about. The Blood War. You hear it rage on in the distance. Its echo is ever present. To your left, you can see far down this massive cliffside, there is infernal war machines that rumble across a barren landscape. You see them kick up plumes of smoke and dust. Above the crimson sky, it is alive with streaks of fire and winged fiends that are locked in aerial combat. You see them clash occasionally, sending combatants hurtling down to the ground in a fiery descent. However, a few feet away to your right is the River Styx. It winds throughout the landscape like a dark, sinuous scar. The water is thick and oily, shimmering with malevolent energy. As you approach, a skeletal barge awaits, seemingly appearing from the very mists of the river itself. A spectral figure stands at the helm, awaiting its passengers. Aventahala looks to you and hands you a coin, about the size of your palm. You can see that it's forged from some type of black iron, but it courses with red streaks like it's burning. And you can see emblazoned on the coin the face of a man screaming. That is your passage. A soul coin.
It's like this is Ryan talking, and is it pretty much the same as the one that we found when we killed those 2 people in the City of Pain?
Yeah.
Because they turned into coins, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And he knows where to take me then?
He does. I will travel with you on the river as far as I can go, but I am unable to enter the plane of Dis. You will arrive at the gates, and you will be allowed entry, considering your infernal heritage. From there, Yorick, you must find Tarlok. I don't know what he is scheming in Dis, but I know he's there and he's doing something for Glacia. Whatever it is, it needs to be stopped. When you arrive in the city of Dis, there will be a familiar face waiting for you. Chain Devil of sorts. One I think you are familiar with.
Craig's gonna be there?
His name is Kal, but yes, Craig.
Wait, his name's Call the whole time and he wouldn't just tell me that?
Well, he didn't not like Craig. Just it's a nickname to him.
Oh. Okay. Before I go and cowling into the parchment, sorry, make this quick.
You could see the skeletal form just.
Thank you. Do you know how this Tarlok fights? Anything I should know about him before I just go at him? Just, anything that might help. Just thought I'd ask.
You see, she says, I don't know much about him. He serves as the jailer of the prisons of Malbolgi. While in that realm, he is quite authoritative. His ability to command and move an individual is unparalleled to most others. It's why he has that position. The warden, some call him. In terms of how he fights, I think that magic tends to be what he sticks to most of the time. I don't believe he is that hardy. I want to stress that in this moment, if an opportunity arises where you get the information of what he's up to and you cannot kill him, I would rather you return alive with the information than dead without it.
Got it. But ideally, information, Tarlok dead, come back.
Correct.
Got it. Alright. I think I'm good then.
All right. Then, good luck.
Yeah, you too. I'll see you later then.
Yes. And with that, she will hand you the other coin, or another coin, and say, "This is to pay for your passage back to here. When you arrive back in Avernus, I will know, and I will return you to your companions."
Got it. Thanks for trusting me with this. It was probably hard, but I'm glad for what that's worth.
She nods. And with that, Yorick?
He will head over to the boatman and offer a coin if he has a hand or a pouch or something.
Okay. So you can see that as you reach up with the coin, you can see that spectral, ghastly face looks towards it, and there is this screech that emanates from his form as the soul that is within the coin is sucked out of it and absorbed as his skin glows much brighter, pale blue. You can see the flame from the coin is darkened. It's now just an iron coin with no soul within. But as you go to step forward, he lets you pass freely. You've paid the boatman.
All right. He will move on and get as comfortable as he can on this boat. I'm guessing the chairs aren't that great.
No, it is
I didn't
much
think
more
so.
of a, it's like a 4-person boat. Um,
Thought so.
so with that, you begin your journey on the River Styx. As you sail, slowly bobbing to the left and to the right, you can see the malevolent, murky waterway. See it winds this serpentine path that you know cuts through much of the multiverse. From the plains of pandemonium all the way to the deepest layers of the abyss, the River Styx flows. The water is thick and oily. It extrudes this acrid odor, and every ripple seems to echo the cries of forgotten souls. In the area where you boarded, the river was quite narrow, a few hundred feet. But now, the river's boundary stretches beyond comprehension. Through the hells, through the abyss, and other treacherous realms, it serves as a conduit for souls. Those damned and not claimed by any deity or other plane of existence end up here, flowing, creating the liquid that this boat currently rides on. Sitting near the prow of the blackened skeletal barge, you feel the weight of countless tales this river has witnessed. As the barge silently cuts through the river Styx, the ambience grows heavier. The air becomes stifling. You, in that moment, see a large cloud of fog appear in front of you. You see now the barge begins to descend deeper into the layers of hell. And after passing through that cloud of fog, you see in the distance a skyline, ironclad looming in the distance. The very atmosphere seems saturated with anticipation, preparing you for the danger and intrigue of what awaits you in the city of Dis. You can see it unfurl in its impressive embrace. Silence only broken off by the far-off cries of the tormented and the low hum of molten rivers. It serves as the city of Dis's grim overture. Above, where in Avernus it was bright red streaked with flame, the sky here is a thick tapestry of smoky clouds, casting everything in a continuous, suffocating twilight. Each structure is an iron monstrosity. Fortresses with spikes with wicked blades pointing accusatorily at the heavens. And streets lined with buildings that writhe and seethe as if they were alive. One point, however, has transfixed you this entire time you've been looking towards the city of Dis and its skyline. What Yorick would know to be the Iron Tower, home to the Archduke Dispater. You can see its ever-changing walls seem to pulse with dark energy, reshaping constantly, ensuring that no path within remains the same. But while your attention has been on the skyline, it immediately shifts to a different matter. The mission at hand. Find Tarlok and figure out what shadowy affiliations connect him to the lingering presence of the lives of you and your companions. And potentially, what other shadowy connections linger here. Whispers tie him to Galacia. Of course, being the warden of her jails, that would only make sense. The exact nature of their connection, though, remains elusive, shrouded in the layers of the infernal politics and treachery, but the implications are vast. Whatever draws Tarlok to Dis is more than mere personal ambition. Beyond the shadow of a doubt, you know that this could reshape the power dynamics of the Hells, and maybe even beyond. There is a month of time that passes after your arrival into the city of Dis. I know, right? There we go. As I said, there's about a month of time that passes from you getting off on the docks near the city of Dis, your entrance, you beginning your investigation with Craig, or as you've just learned, his name is Kal. The city of Dis, this ever-changing city, becomes a twisted map in your mind. Over the course of the month, every potential lead or idea of where Tarlok might be leads to a dead end. The city thrives on whispered secrets and veiled threats. Trust here is rarer than water in a desert. As you've navigated this tangled web of Dis, Craig has been your unwavering shadow. Given his connection to the city of Dis and to the different items that are produced here, he is able to get you into places that you most normally would not have been able to get in. While, for the most part, you have been visiting more respectable establishments, one that would let a humanoid tiefling like yourself in, he has allowed you to be the eyes and ears in the shadows, eavesdropping and interrogating. Together, as the two of you piece together this mosaic of information. What you discover over the month is that Tarlok's intentions are a proposed allegiance with certain powers in the Hells. As the days meld into a blur of molten rivers and iron spires, there's a particular conversation between two devils in a smoky tavern that solidifies your focus. Tarlok has intentions for the Infernal Court. And Craig has a way to get you in. The Infernal Court is within the Iron Tower, home to the Lord of the City of Dis, Dispater. The palace's grand hall will be the stage. Craig offers you advice, echoes caution into your ear, and you've begun your preparations. The intricacies of the city of Dis are vast, but the call of the Infernal Court is inescapable. The culmination of your month-long investigation has led you here. As the date nears, you are ready. With Craig by your side to infiltrate the gathering, to determine, to unveil the mysteries of Tarlok's intent. So, you two have been staying in this half-hobbled together, abandoned refinery on the far reaches of the city. It's a place where you can be safely, you can plan, you can prep, you can do whatever you need to do. But the day has come. This evening, Craig has managed to, through his own connections, gotten you a way to get inside of the Iron Tower, to be there for this infernal council and whatever happens there. You can see that as you're getting ready, maybe it's just all of the months of culmination making sure you have all your details. You have a few moments now to discuss with Craig, should you have any questions about specifics, as he said, oh, you know what, actually, let me just double check something. Okay. Is this working?
No.
All right. See, this is why we check. This is why we check. Voice mod makes me want to pull my hair out. Okay. I'm gonna be mute for just a second. I can still hear you, but
so yeah, what a setup, gang. It's gonna be crazy. No idea where this is going, but I'm very excited about it. Been a lot of build up, so very curious to see what it's all going to conclude at already. And I just got here, pretty much.
Yeah. I am curious too. How is Yorick gonna get his way out of this one? Is this working now?
That is working.
There you go. That's why you got to reset it. Okay, cool. So, as you are preparing yourself, putting together your weapons and armor, given the fact that this is the city of Dis, within the Nine Hells, weapons and armor are expected. To go somewhere without some type of self-defense is suicide. Right. As you prepare, you can see Craig, Kyle, his name, but Craig as a nickname, says,
"So then, it has finally come to this."
Oh, can you turn that down a little bit? Like, that is so loud. Sorry not to throw another wrench in, but that was very strong.
All right. How is this?
Better.
All right.
It's a little high pitched though, which is not what I think you want for Cal. I'm really raining on your parade today. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that was weird. Okay.
Okay, this is the one that I want to use, though, so...
No, I believe you.
It is...
I could... It started off really good. It was just really loud.
Yeah. Okay, well, hopefully...
Is this better?
There's still a little high pitch in there.
Well, this is the one that I wanted to use, so this is the...
That's
fine. That was the one that I picked. So,
we'll go with it then.
So, are you ready for everything?
Yeah, so, couple quick questions. So, other than the Archduke, who all is going to be at this Infernal Accord again? Any particular names that would stand out to someone like you? Not really to me, but, you know, any names of note?
It is not common for the guest list to be released beforehand. All are invited, all that have the esteem of Dissipator, but only a few usually show.
Got it. So, do we have like an alias or a cover story that I need to memorize in case anyone asks who I am while I'm in there? I don't really plan on being super talkative by all means, but should probably be prepared in case someone does say something.
No, the only individual who knows of your identity is that of Aventahala. She has kept it very under wraps, and that of Glacia. And from what channels I have searched, very little is known about Yorick Nassim or even the Forerunners within the Nine Hells.
Got it.
Your friend Eurydice has been quite a point of contention, but the rest of the Forerunners, not so much.
Got it. Okay. No, I think we're good. We're kind of going in a little blind. No offense. I know that this alone was really hard and impressive to pull off, so well done on that. But yeah, I think a lot of it is just going to be hearing what he has to say and then kind of reacting to it, and we'll figure things out as we go. So we go in and just kind of keep our cool and observe.
I agree.
All right.
There is one final note, though.
So what's that?
Should things go bad, something happen where, well, a fight breaks out, so to speak, escaping the Iron Tower is impossible. So if that does happen, what you will need to do is pick a point to make a stand, and I will come find you, and we will get out.
But you said it's impossible, so how are you going to get us out?
I have my ways. It is impossible for someone like you to get out.
Okay. I see how it is. Alright, fair enough.
No offense to you, it's just...
It's cool. No, I get it. Yeah, just... no, I get it. Hey, glad you have that. That's great. And if there's anything I can do, it's make a stand. So, hopefully it won't come to that, but good to know.
I'm detecting just a little bit of jealousy, is that what that is?
Yeah, probably. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Alright. Well, maybe next time you're at this, we can check it out.
Oh, I'd love that. If I ever come back, we'll see.
If you make it out alive, right?
Yeah, that's the joke I was going with. Okay. Anyway, I think we should get going, and he'll summon the helm onto his face.
Okay. Summon the helm.
Yeah.
And with that, you and your companion,
Carl.
Carl,
Name.
Craig.
I like Carl.
That's why he wasn't too offended with Craig, because he's like, it's close enough.
It's close, yeah.
It's close.
I dig that.
So with that, the two of you head out throughout the city of Dis, and eventually you arrive at the gates of the Iron Tower. Now, the thing to keep in mind about your time here, the Iron Tower is ever looming. Regardless of what direction you look in the city, you can see it. If you look north and then turn to look west, the tower is now west. If you are north and turn to look south, the tower is now south. It is always there. It is always in front of you. It is always watching. It is always present. So all you need to do is walk towards it. Right?
Theoretically.
Sadly,
on the material plane, that's how it would work.
Craig informs you that you must walk away from it. So keeping it in your line of sight, but walking backwards towards it. And you can see that there are many devils that are doing that within the city of Dis. They march backwards throughout the streets, heading towards the Iron Tower. You follow
in
suit.
Rome.
Yeah.
When in Dis.
And in a short period of time, although the tower is in front of you, your back hits something. The metal echoing. And as you turn around, the gates of the tower are in front of you. It was so far away when you were looking at it, but now as you turn around, it's there. With that, you can see Craig gestures to the gate for you, as the gates are currently open to allow the guests of the Infernal Council entrance. This is a grandiose ball of decadence. As you enter, you walk through this interconnected maze of iron walls that are constantly shifting and changing. But they move around you to allow you easy entrance into the tower itself. As you enter the tower, there is no longer that lingering, watchful eye of the Iron Tower. Instead, you begin to hear whispers. Deal-making, you're sure. Constant half-breaths of words said behind closed doors as you enter the tower. You ascend the steps, and in time, eventually, you arrive at the Infernal Court.
Ooh. That is nice art.
Thank you. Initially, upon your entrance, you see a great deal of lesser devils. Probably 50 or 60 of them in this room. Barb devils, bone devils, chain devils, Aaron Yesses, horn devils, spine devils. You see quite a few imps that are currently floating and flying around with different trays of liquids. You're not exactly sure what's in the glasses, but it is some type of drink. And you can also see Amnesu. You can see these massive guardians that stand watch over the room. As you enter, you can see there are corridors that lead off to the left, right, and further down. Further down in front of you, that way is currently blocked off by 2 guards, as that is where the speaking will be done for the greater devils that choose to arrive and anyone who wishes to speak to the greater devils that arrive. So, to the left and to the right and to the area in front of you, it is yours to try and find this Tarlock or gather any information you possibly can about him. So, Yorick, I open it up to you. What do you want to do?
Has Yorick been shown or given a description of what Tarlock looked like?
Yes. So, let me go ahead and grab it here. Aventa Hollow would have given you a description that she would have had. Where is it at here? Here we go. Okay. So he is incredibly tall, a rather humanoid face. He looks closer to a tiefling than anything else, except he has pale skin. Oh no, did I not? I think I made a mistake. Shoot. Okay. Man, did I really? Yeah, okay. So he has pale skin. He has shorter, stubbier horns out of his forehead. But his most discernible feature is the clothing he chooses to wear and his legs. So he typically wears silken robes of black and purple. But then on top of that, instead of hooved legs, his feet have pads and fur like a lion's, but no claws.
Okay. Based on this description, this is kind of a throwback. I'm assuming not based on something you said earlier, but It does not sound like this individual was with Galacia in the City of Radiance, correct?
They were not, no.
Okay. Alright, so given that Yorick knows what he's looking for, I think he's actually going to put his helm to use. I think he's going to walk forward, not towards where, like, those guards are that would, like, obviously stop him. But I think he's walking forward because he's trying to get kind of a clearer view of the whole room, because with his watchful helm, he can see everything around him, so he's trying to look for someone with this figure, and it sounds like they would kind of stand out at least.
Yeah, so go ahead and make a perception check with advantage for me.
Alright, are you going to let me roll with advantage, or are you going to make me just click twice? Oh, there we go. Wow! 9.
Woo!
1 to 3, baby.
Okay. So,
There's a lot going on.
yeah. So, Tarlock in a tavern in Raven Rock would be very easy to spot. But you are not in Raven Rock. You see a great manner of devils that are incredibly strange in appearance, distracting from your current mission. In fact, some people here aren't even devils. As you are using the helm to peer and look around, you're focusing so hard that you end up bumping into an individual by accident. As you sort of knock into their shoulder and look towards them, you see a rather tall, imposing figure with deep red skin that you, at first, assumed to be a Ganassi. But upon looking them up and down, you can see that from the waist down, their entire form is that of, like, wreathing smoke and fire. As Yorick, you have heard of creatures like these. These are Afridi. And you can see he looks to you with this furrowed brow.
You dare disturb Lord Azrakul? Who do you think you are? You disturb me in this moment?
2 questions. 1, does that name mean anything to Yorick?
Make a history check with disadvantage.
Okay, well. Okay, well. Okay, well, not gonna get much worse than that. Yeah, 4, so nothing.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know that if he's an Afridi, he probably originated from the city of Brass, but that's about it. But in terms of the name, nothing.
In terms of, like, Afridi, because I imagine that Yorick and Cal have gone back and forth a lot on, like, this kind of stuff in terms of, like, because there's, like, proper etiquette on the material plane.
Yeah.
And I imagine there's also, in their own way, proper etiquette down here. So, for someone like this, does Yorick know, like, generally how he should be carrying himself? Like, is it more of an aggressive, like, I'll stand my ground, come across as a threat, and, like, we'll kind of back off from each other, or be more humble, apologize? Like, what does Yorick kind of think the proper thing to do here is, if he has any idea?
Most of the time, in the 9 hells, it would be to stand your ground, be aggressive, and then the other person would hopefully back off. If not, a fight would break out. Considering that he is from the city of Brass, you can tell from the way that he's dressed, probably nobility, and the fact that he's an Afridi, I mean, definitely nobility. So in this moment, it's about a 50-50 thing for Yorick. He could either stand his ground and be aggressive, and the Afridi might back off, or he could be humble, and the Afridi might appreciate that.
Okay. I think Yorick will take a step back, and I think he's going to do that kind of bow where, you know, like, kind of hand to the chest and just kind of, like, lower his head. No one that should have bumped into you. I am Yorick, and the fault is completely mine.
You are right about that. Humanoid. Instead of bumping into your brothers, why don't you go speak with Gaza over there? Seems more your ilk.
You can see with that, he sort of turns his head back to the devils that he was consorting with. You can see that the way he nodded his head, you can see a human, darker skin, longer black hair, loose clothing. You can see that there are 2 scimitars at his side as he just sort of sits leaned up against the wall, looking towards the devils in the room.
This is just a straight human that's just standing there and doesn't appear to be like a servant.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's interesting, right? Like, that's kind of like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
All right. And there's, like, no one around him. He seems to be completely on his own. Yeah, I think Yorick would approach, and not in, like, a straight on him, but I think he'd approach straight on enough that this guy would see him coming. Like, he's not trying to sneak up or get, like, the better of him. Because obviously people are always watching their back in this place. Okay. But I think he would approach and just kind of try to get a read on him as he's approaching. Just body language or anything like that, in terms of, like, he really doesn't want to talk, he's curious. Just, is there anything that Yorick can kind of read from him, or does he seem nervous?
Make an insight check as you approach.
Oh, okay, finally, some good karma. Natural 20 for a 36.
Oh, hey, all right.
Thank you, thank you.
The confetti was nice.
The confetti was nice.
You can see what could only be an utter disgust and hatred of the creatures that currently live in this area. The way he looks at these monsters is the way you would look at an undead that is currently trying to attack your companions. It is pure vile hatred as he just stares at them as they walk and drink and eat. But he definitely is angry as he watches them. So much so that he doesn't even see you approach.
I think Yorick would kind of come to his side and just lean against the wall next to him. Your eyes show too much.
They do not care. To me, I
Fair
am
enough.
but a cockroach.
Yeza, is it?
Gyaza.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Gyaza the Bound is what they call me.
I'm assuming that name combined with the title doesn't mean anything to Yorick either.
No.
You don't often see a straight-up human down here.
No, you do not. Most of the time I spent fighting in the Blood War. But every once in a while, my supposed master sends me to other planes in search of things.
Your master being?
I don't know. Some cruel devil stole my soul when I died in battle some 1,500 years ago in Odero. They brought me back in the Hells to fight for them. I don't know who they are, but every once in a while I get a letter from an imp telling me to go to a place, to kill someone, to find something. So I do. Because I have no other choice.
Doesn't seem fair, does it?
No. It is not fair. But nothing I can do to change it. Perhaps if I knew who my devil master was, I could. But I do not.
Your master wanted you here in place of himself?
No, that is not what the letter said. The letter said I was to come here. And I was to observe the speech that was made here tonight. Apparently there are a great deal of important people here to listen to some offering. I'm to learn what this offering is and report back to the imp that sent me the letter.
You heard anything since you've been in here? Anything interesting at all?
You know, it is strange. When most of the guests think of you as lesser, they say so many things around you. Yes, I do know. I have learned a great deal in the hour or so I've been here. I'd be willing to share it with you. For a price.
And that would be?
Are you from the material plane?
Yorick will just very slightly nod his head.
Do you have any drink from the material plane?
Would Yorick still have anything after a month?
I would say yeah, he might have a little bit left in a oh my god, what is it? Not a flask, but I mean I guess a flask.
Like a water sack or
yeah,
something?
yeah.
Okay. Yorick will kind of reach into his bag and he'll pull something out. It's not a lot. I've been here for a while, but yeah, I got some.
So he grabs it. He'll pop the stopper off and and after the sniff, he will take a drink and finish it off. And you can see there is this satisfying. He'll pop the stopper back on and hand it to you and say,
Thank you. Six, either current or former archdevils are here. Dispater, of course. I know for a fact that Maman is here, the Archduke of the Third Lair of the Nine Hells. Fierna, Archduchess of the Fourth Lair, is here. And even Belle.
which that is one you would definitely know, as Bel was the former ruler of Avernus until he was dethroned by Zariel. So Bel, coming to a place like this, has a lot to gain.
Got it.
There are a few others, but none as powerful as those four.
Do you have any idea who called this meeting? Who initially set it up?
Only the archdukes or duchesses of the Nine Hells have the power to call the Infernal Council. So, there are only 9 options. I know for a fact it was not Osmodeus, as he is currently too sick to do much of anything, even defend his own keep.
Interesting. This whole thing's gonna be interesting, I have a feeling.
Very much so. You know, if you were to require any assistance, if you have any more drink you could find me, I'd be willing to lend you my services. After all, I'm only here to listen. What's the harm if I do a little talking too?
I will keep that in mind.
Alright. One final word of advice. You and I are not the only black sheeps at this party. There is another. A dragonborn woman from Odero. Her name is Sultana. I would not speak with her if I were you. Most of the devils do not trust her. She has a checkered past, to say the least.
And I assume that when he says that he's being sincere, it's not like he's trying to get me to avoid something that actually could be helpful.
Yeah, make an insight check.
17.
17. You believe that that's genuine.
Okay. Well, I'll keep an eye out and avoid then. I think the less trouble tonight, the better.
Very smart. You know, most infernal councils, if there's not at least 4 deaths and 10 gallons or so of blood spilt, it's considered a dull event. But considering that so many archdevils are here, probably blessed to be a bit more refined.
Well, with only 3 black sheep, let's hope so.
See, he laughs and nods.
I think York will like take a step and then he'll stop for a second. Kind of look back at him for a moment. Reach into his pack and he'll pull out a tiny amount for like 1 dose of Pitus and just toss it to him.
Yeah. You can see he catches it, kind of takes a little piece and...
Thank you, my friend.
See, he tucks it into a little pouch at his side.
York will give the nod again and he'll walk off, and this time York's going to try the same strategy, but he's going to focus on walking forward to make sure he doesn't bump into anyone, because he kind of narrowly avoided problems last time, and especially with so many archdevils, people might be a little bit more not nervous, but a little bit more wary. So he'll kind of go to a spot where you feel like he can stand, and then he'll kind of focus on the helm and try to scan around him. So he's just trying to do the same thing, but maybe a little bit smarter this time.
Okay, go ahead and make another perception check with advantage.
All right, let's please higher than a 3 this time. Okay, 19, much better.
Okay, 19. Scanning around in this leftmost alcove, you don't see anyone matching that description. Takes about 20, 30 minutes, but you're pretty confident that no one in this left side is Tarlock. You cross over to the center, scan again, nothing. Cross over to the right, and after about 25 minutes of scanning, you see an individual currently sitting next to a platter of what looks to be different bits and pieces of freshly scraped flesh off of the bone. You hope of an animal, but you're just not sure.
Who knows?
You can see a man that matches the description of Tarlock that was given to you by Aventahala, and I'll go ahead and share that now.
Ooh. Well, I hate that.
So you can see his
In a
hand
good way.
currently digging around in the platter, and you can see he grabs a bit and sort of and leaving some of the blood dripping down his lips as you see him speaking with an individual. Right now, from the perspective where you're standing, you see him talking to the individual, but as of right now, all you see is a cloaked figure. You don't see the face of whoever he's talking to.
Okay. The entrance that we came in, does that seem to be the only nearby exit? Or looking to where he's sitting, does it seem like if something was to happen, there's an exit that he would head out of that's closer?
There are servants' quarters that head out of this area. If those lead to an exit, you're not sure. Probably. Okay. I mean, they wouldn't want the servants going out the same way that the guests are coming in, but...
Fair enough. Okay. And is York just at a bad angle, or is this person, like, crouched, hood down, like, making it to where, like, it's nearly impossible to see who it is?
You could navigate in a way that would potentially allow you to see them, but you would have to get pretty close for that to happen.
I think York's gonna try, but again, I think he's gonna focus on not looking in that direction. He's gonna try to make his way through, and then occasionally stop, focus on the helm to look that direction, to where he's not, like, you know, looking right at him. It's kind of more from his peripheral with the magical of the helm, trying to see what they look like, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Hoping that it's not suspicious, because theoretically, no one here should really know who he is. So he's not super worried about getting recognized, but he doesn't want to look sus.
Exactly. Okay, cool. So, as you move in a bit, just trying to cover a little bit more ground, just to get a little bit closer, you see the beginnings of a form. You can see the hands, the fingers, maybe just a little bit of a profile that is sticking out from the cloak as they are talking with Tarlok. But before you can get close enough to see any more, nobody notices you looking, but there is an individual that approaches you. You can see a red dragonborn woman. She moves up to you and says, "I'm sorry to bother you, but do I know you?"
I actually think canonically York has never met a dragonborn, so at least as far as I'm aware. So,
no, yeah, because York met the party after Hrothgar, right?
Correct. York has never met Hrothgar.
Yeah. So, so yeah.
So yeah, very honestly, York just goes, "Never met any dragonborn. Must be thinking of someone else."
Make a persuasion check.
I'm being so honest.
You are. That's why it's not a deception check.
Fuck! This 3 is gonna keep haunting me. It's a 6. How does it keep landing on 3?
I believe you. I just... You seem familiar. And she just stares at you.
Looking back towards her now, seeing that she's not gonna back off, does she honestly believe that, or does York feel like this is, like, kind of remembering his buddy's words, like, is she trying to mess with him?
Make an insight check.
25.
She genuinely believes that she's either met you before, or she feels like she has.
Well, again, sorry, but you seem very memorable, and I mean that in a good way, but nah, must be someone else, so if you'll just excuse me, and he'll try to walk past her.
Yeah, she won't stop you. She'll just look at you as you pass. And your passive perception is high enough. Yeah, because what is your passive perception is like 22,
21.
Right? 21, yeah.
Yeah, pretty high.
You would hear her say under her breath, maybe connected to Emerald? I don't know. And with that, she would kind of turn her head and begin to walk away.
Oh, York's so curious, but fuck if this is not the right place for that. He whispers back, his name is Solvis, but no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, like, since he could see her leave with the helm, I think he'd kind of glance back for a second, but then I think he would just be like, that's for another time. I gotta prioritize here, so he will again try and see who this person that Carlot's talking to.
Okay. So,
Tarlock, sorry.
no, you're good. You're good. As you begin to approach, I need you to be very specific about how you are choosing to approach this situation.
Okay, so
Give me metrics.
metrics. Okay. How so? Like they're at like a kind of like a table because there's like a platter, even if it's like
Yeah.
a small one or something. Are there people around them, or are people giving them a pretty wide berth to let these two just seem to talk on their own?
Considering that Tarlock is a known name, there is a bit of a bubble around the two of them where they can talk privately without people overhearing. It's maybe a 10-foot bubble around the two of them. But you can see there are large groups of people near these sort of large pillars around them. So there's some cover, but around them there is like I said, about a 10-foot bubble.
I think Yorick would try to stay about like another roughly 5 feet outside of even that bubble, and still just trying to get a look to see if he can see whose face that is. As he's, this is them. He's kind of circling around, trying to make it look like he's going towards the back, but basically so he can always kind of have that peripheral view on them to try and see if he can catch who this person is.
Okay.
Was that specific enough? I don't know.
That was.
Okay.
Go ahead and make a... Make a perception check with advantage. So you're moving around.
19 again.
19, okay. As you begin to peek, just sort of wrapping around the side here, you begin to get a glimpse once again of the side profile. You double check to make sure nobody is approaching you in this moment. You continue to wrap around the corner just a little bit more until you see one half of a face. It is just a profile, but it is a full profile. A face that you painfully recognize. You see plates of porcelain attached to it, sleek and slender, almost doll-like, as you see Mezin Kelnos sitting there speaking with Tarlock back and forth. Eventually, the two of them, the conversation seems to come to an end. An understanding has been achieved in some way, shape, or form. And with that, Tarlac smiles, nods, and the two of them go their separate ways. You can see Tarlac moving in your direction. And you can see Mezin Kelnos looks towards Tarlock as he exits, but does not seem to notice you.
It's like, fuck, why I designed Yorick so distinctly. Should have made him a plain face with plain armor. Just, why not just name him Garde? God damn it.
So, Mezin Kelnos watches Tarlock leave. A smile curls across his face, and he turns away and begins to leave the infernal court.
Oh, he's leaving the whole room.
Mm-hmm. He's leaving the entire event.
Yes. Okay, well, got to report on that later. Where does, so just standing still and watching, where does it seem like Tarlock is heading now?
Tarlock is heading to the room that was initially blocked off. The center room.
So it looks like he's preparing to speak.
That's what you think, yeah.
Okay. I think Yorick is going to carefully, without insulting any nobles or djinn or such creatures, try to get as close as he can to listen and watch what's about to happen.
Okay. Okay. So you can see there are a lot of people that begin to follow after Tarlok, seeing the determined way he marches to the central chamber. As you begin to cross into that, begin to make your way towards that threshold, you can see that there are these large, heavy red curtains that will be closed when the speaking begins. And you're not sure how much you'll be able to hear after that point. As you begin to approach, trying to look for some way to enter, you can see Sultana approach you once again. And she looks as you sort of look at the curtains and then look to her, and she says, "Do you want in?"
Genuine question, or is she fucking with me?
With your passive insight, I'll say she seems genuine. 16, yeah, she seems genuine.
I'd really like to hear what's going on in there, yeah.
All right. I can get you in. But when we get out, I need you to do something for me.
What?
I want to and you see she kind of looks around, a much smaller framed dragonborn. I want to go on a mind walk with you. I know that sounds very strange. I know. It is from the monastic order that I studied with. It's something that I learned how to tap into. I think that in one way, shape, or form, you and I are connected, and I need to know how.
Does it hurt?
It shouldn't, no.
Right. Looking and just like not seeing other options and knowing that he needs to hear it. Fine.
Okay. Just me being transparent. You do have another resource you could go to see if he has a way in. If you want to.
That's true. I was about to ask about
yeah,
Call, but I wasn't sure if I had enough time to go see him real quick.
Yeah, I mean, devils, they are bureaucratic, so there is so much pomp and circumstance that goes into preparing for these speeches.
Oh, so it's one of those things where it's like they're not really going to start talking for another 30 minutes or something like that.
You have time. You have time. If you want to exhaust other...
Lord of the son of the... Oh my god. We were here 2 weeks ago, we know. Okay. Okay, then yes, with that being said, fair enough, because I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
then,
no, I just wanted you to make sure you had your options open.
Appreciate that. Wait here, give me 5 minutes, and York will try to head off to find Call, which... Has he been kind of wandering around, or did he stay still in one spot?
No, you can see that he has been moving around slowly by himself, every once in a while stopping at some of the lesser devils to talk to them, or every once in a while stopping an imp or two to talk to them. But as you move to a darker corner, you can see he just breaks off conversation with a bone devil. The bone devil sort of walks past you, paying you no mind, seeing you and him at the same level, which is a whole other issue, but right now York does not have time to address that.
Sure, yeah, I got bigger problems right now.
But with that, you eventually arrive at Kal, and you see him sort of look around and look towards you.
What do you need?
I need to get in there to hear what's going on. There's someone that can help me, but I don't know them. Do you have anything?
Yes, I have a way. But if you are discovered, you would need to run quickly. I will come after you as fast as I can to get you out of the tower. But if you are discovered, especially with all of the archdevils that are here, it would be dangerous. I don't think you would be able to handle yourself. But it would be not good.
So what exactly do you have? Is it just invisibility, or like what would you do exactly? You're being kind of vague about it.
I would turn you into an imp. You would be able to enter, cling to the rafters. No one pays any mind to lesser devils like us, especially imps. You could belong to some other archdevil. They have thousands that are at their disposal.
Okay. And then that is one option. So this girl, did she purposely not volunteer what she would do? 'Cause I just feel bad going back and forth all the time.
No.
What's her method here? Like, that, what would she offer to do?
No, her method is you just go in with her. You're her guest.
Oh, what? She can just walk in? Oh, shit.
You don't know what this lady's been up to here, but she has respect, even though people don't like her.
Oh, man. Okay, so I think taking all the information, he's going to look to Call, because in a way, Call, I know that like it was mainly a flavor thing, but Call has sort of like been with Yorick, so I imagine he actually knows a lot of what has been going on actually in the Isles of Iverion.
Oh,
and
sure.
whatnot.
Yeah.
All right. The Dragonborn over there just kind of like motions. She knows Emerald somehow. It's like she could sense him off of me or something like that.
I suppose then the question is which one?
Hadn't thought of that, actually. Good point.
That's what I'm here for.
I appreciate that. Look, I'm gonna go with my gut here. If, with the amount of archdevils that are here, I had a guy who talked about, you know, things going better, but I think in terms of that, I think people are also going to be a little bit more nervous. I'm thinking just being able to go in as myself, I think, is the better move. If they trust her enough, then hopefully I'll just be able to listen freely, and as long as I don't do anything rash, then I think we'll be okay. I think it's the best move here.
Very well. I trust your judgment. Hopefully she is trustworthy.
Yeah, well, if not, just look for whatever direction I run in.
I'll be there.
Yorick will shoulder clap him and walk away back to the Dragonborn.
And with that, you can see Craig, he just sort of floats over to another group of chain devils and begins to consort with them, trying to stay as incognito as possible.
All right, he's going to head back. She's a red Dragonborn, you said?
She is, yeah.
All right. All right. Mind walk, you got a deal.
All right. Very good. Then follow me.
And he will follow her lead. And I'm going to fix my window real quick, because this light's really annoying.
All right. So,
Should be at least better.
yeah. With that, got so many notes. Here we go. People. As you approach the door, the curtain that is currently open with the two guards that stand there, you can see as Sultana approaches, she says, "Sultana Yasmin, from Odero, servant of Tiamat. This is my guest." You can see the weapons part, and they allow you passage.
And he'll just head in at her side or right behind her, however he's supposed to walk.
Yep. You follow right alongside her in her stride, and with that, you can see this incredibly decadent amphitheater. It's not very large, but you can see it is almost like oh god, like one of those I'm thinking about like the Academy in Bloodborne, where it has like all of the risers, and then there's like it's like I can't remember what that word is called. Oh, that's gonna bug me so much. But it's like a semicircle around an elevated platform, except in front of the platform, you can see there are 9 seats. 9 seats, most of which are empty. However, the second, third, and fourth seat are filled with the archdevils of their respective lairs of hell. So the ones being empty being that of Avernus, let's see, Stygia, Malbolg, so apparently Glacia is not here, Maladomini, Cania, and Nessus. Osmodeus isn't here. Good for you.
What?
I was really hoping to see him.
Hey, we've never met.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, Asmodeus has no idea who York is, by face at least,
Yeah.
probably.
So with that, you enter. You sit next to Sultana, nestled together with a few other outlanders from the material plane or from planes outside of the 9 hells. It seems as though all of you are seated together as to not contaminate the other guests. But eventually, you can see stepping out onto the platform after everyone has been seated is that of Tarlok. So let me go ahead and in this dimly lit amphitheater, the Infernal Court, you see his massive form casting this dominating silhouette against the different torches and braziers that flicker. Every eye, be it devil, humanoid, or otherwise, turned towards him. Anticipation is palpable in the air. As he speaks, his voice booms and carries.
Lords and ladies of the 9 hell, I beseech your discerning ears and keen intellects. For too long we have languished under the shadow of a ruler whose star dims with each passing eon. A monarch, once invincible, now proven vulnerable on the very material plane he sought to manipulate. Cast aside by a mere girl he presumed to puppeteer. Is this the leadership that shall shape our future? Is this the destiny we, the pinnacle of infernal might, are to accept?
You can see there is a pause Many of the devils look to each other. The archdevils that are here share a few whispers between.
Why should we submit to the doctrine of balance? A concept forged to blind us, to keep our ambitions tethered, our desires curtailed. The cosmos sings to us a song of endless conquest, of dominions waiting to be seized, of power ready to be harnessed. Balance, my friends, is a gilded cage, the one our tyrant overlord prattles on and on and on about. Why do we perch on the edge when we can soar the vast expanse? Demons, our ancient adversaries, they thrive in chaos, but we are creatures of pact, of logic, of purpose. Our strength lies in not just might, but in our ability to strategize, to forge alliances, and to see the larger tapestry. Yet, how can we achieve supremacy? How can we end the blood war and bend the abyss to our will when our leader is faltering at the helm? I promise a new dawn. A revolution led not by whims or vendettas, but by cold, calculating design. We need a sovereign who will understand the intricate dance of the mortal realms and the abyssal depths of our own. A leader unburdened by past failures, yet one who has been molded by them. Someone who can not just guide us to victory, but to dominion. To an era where every plane bends its knees to the 9 hells of Bator. One who has already proven so much. Leadership was not given, it was taken. The 8th layer of Bator. The realm of prisons. All of you know, many years ago, it was given to not even someone of our own kind. Given to a night hag, a fey creature. We all thought it was vile, disgusting, that our tyrant lord, instead of rewarding his faithful, would reward such low ilk. That is why I believe, should we deem it correct, let our new sovereign be Glacia. The blood of Osmodeus courses through her veins. Not old blood, new, invigorated. For in her veins pulses the future we just not desire, but that we rightfully deserve.
You can see there is silence that envelops the room, no whispers. You see one of the archdukes, Dissipator, the one whose realm you currently lie in. He stands and speaks.
You come to my realm. You bring promises of rebellion. want us to usurp our Lord and Master Osmodeus when he has no ability to react? That sounds to me like an act of chaos. You would usurp the laws of our lands for the pride of one who cannot even be here. And you really think that that girl, that echo of a greater devil, that she could truly dethrone the former ruler of that realm? We all know the truth of what transpired. Osmodeus, tired of her constant prattling and complaining, and responded thusly, rewarded his daughter for nothing. Simply because she was persistent. I fuel the fires of Avernus. I take my commands from my lord and master.
You see him sit. Tarlok, he nods reverently and says,
Well, of course, if that is the case, then that is how you feel, Archduke Dispater. I would never attempt to stoop to the lower levels of our abyssal cousins. But you cannot deny Osmodeus has failed you. He has failed all of you. How long has he reigned supreme? How long has he promised the world? How many times has he tried and failed? And I have no claim to defend Glacia and how she came to the ownership of that throne. I think it is best she discloses that herself.
as you can see, as Tarlok kneels in that moment, there is a wisp of ash and flame in the center of the stage as she appears. Weapons and armor adorned, ready to fight. You can see in her hand is a head. She tosses it towards the Archduke Dispater, incredibly disrespectfully. The blood of the wizened head splatters all over his form. A head with pointed ears, dark, cracked skin, wispy white hair, and a long curled nose. The face of a hag, of a night hag specifically. You can see Dispater holding the head in his hands, look up towards Glacia as she says, "Even if he did just give me the throne. Look at the head you hold in your hands, Dispater. You are old enough to remember it, aren't you? When she was coronated. Even if it was given to me, and you believed it was never rightfully mine, I've taken it. I've taken it now. I'm sure there are many of you in here that would wish to take what truly belongs to you." As you can see, she looks specifically to Bel, the former ruler of Avernus. and to another another greater devil, not an archduke, but one who seems to have a larger retinue of devils with him. Osmodeus is weak. He cannot defend his keep. He cannot even destroy a mortal girl who he manipulated for years. You all deserve better. I deserve better. There are things being set into motion. It will take time, but in a year, maybe 2, should you choose me, you will have all you desire and more. Those who swear fealty to me now will retain their positions as Archduke or Archduchess. Those who deny me will suffer the same fate as my dearly departed father. So you must ask yourself, will Osmodeus return? Or is he already gone? The worst part is, you have no way of knowing. None at all. You see, she steps forward off of the platform, getting closer to the crowd. Moving up the stairs, looking to the individuals in the crowd. Yorick, as that happens, is there anything you want to try and do specifically as she seems to be getting closer to where you're seated?
Yeah, I was waiting for this to happen. Oh, again, why did I design such a distinct ass looking character? Let me check something real quick. You know what? This actually kind of works, I think, because as far as I'm aware, Glacia has never seen him fight. Since I imagine no focus is on Yorick right now, I think he will enter his form of dread, which does change both his armor and his physical appearance. That's been built up since day one.
Yeah,
with
that's
Yorick,
true.
so
That's true.
she's seen what normal tiefling Yorick looks like, not his dread form. So he will throw on that real quick. It does look similar to Yorick, but he's hoping it's enough to, in this moment of her whatever she's doing, that hopefully she's not thinking about it.
Okay. So you can see she walks up and down the aisle in the center of the stands. You can see many devils, they bow in reverence to her. Others stand defiant. She doesn't seem to notice you, Yorick. But in the moment where she passes where you sit, she looks directly towards your row, where you and Sultana and the other humanoids from the material plane are. Question to you, do you stay defiant? Or do you bow your head?
What are the other humanoids in my row doing?
Everyone else has bowed their head except for Sultana.
Man. Honestly, don't think Yorick would be like thinking that much about it. He's got so much going through his head right now. I think he'd stay defiant.
Okay. All right. Sounds good to me. So,
Ryan, if you could just roll a new character real quick, that'd be great.
with that, you and Sultana stay defiant, along with several other individuals within the room. Many of the powerful greater devils and most of the archdukes and duchesses, they bow their heads except for Dispater. You can see his head stands tall and proud, defiant. You can see Glacia move over towards him and say, "Is there nothing I can do to change your mind, Archduke Dispater?" He stays silent. Very well. I'm so sorry it came to this. And in that moment, you can see in a flash, she draws her sword and makes this wide slash towards Dispater. You can see there is this smite almost of necrotic energy that flashes from the blade, almost like the black flame from Elden Ring, the black and white fire that scorches off the sword as it flies towards him. You can see cut through the chest, he lets out this massive cry, yelling for the guards. And you can see many of the people begin to look around. Some of the other people that had kept their heads up in defiance, they begin to move. And marching through the doors, you see the knights of Malbolg begin moving towards anyone that kept their head up. They begin to attack, and you can see Sultana, she immediately looks to you and looks towards a knight that is making its way towards your row, attempting to come towards you. And wrong one. There we go. And Yorick, as that happens, you can see there is one knight that is moving towards you and Sultana from one side and another from the other. You can see most other people kept their heads down, and they keep their heads down, but you can see Sultana sort of looks to the other one and says, "You get that one, I got this one."
Got it.
And as you begin to move towards that, you can see she like brings her hands up, and as she goes to like punch, she's like 15 feet away from the knight, but as she punches, there is this massive burst of air that shoots out from her palm that sends the knight flying back 15 feet, crashing into the others, tumbling down the stands. You can see she begins to jump up and run out towards the door. The knight that's in your way, what are you doing?
I think York's just running up. What kind of weapon does this thing have?
So he is sword and board right now. He has a sword and a shield.
Okay, so round shield or like a knight kind of shield?
Like a knight, like a kite shield.
Okay. I think Yorick would because since they're kind of around a lot of people, they're a little bit crowded, so that kind of works better for Yorick.
Mm-hmm.
So using his glaive, which is a reach weapon, to his advantage, I think that he would almost like stab it down. And obviously he would try to like, the devil would probably like try to block with the shield, but he'd just like aim it purposely like between the thing's legs and then just kind of slash it out to the side to try and cut the leg or sweep the leg so it just like falls over.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So you are able to stab down. You end up cutting into the back of the calf, and the leg You can see the Devilish Knight let out this roar in pain as they end up falling down and tumbling down the stairs a bit. You're able to move past them and head up the stairs and reconvene with Sultana.
Where's Tarlock?
Tarlock, okay. So you can see that he begins to head up the stairs in your direction with a few other knights, seemingly chasing after you as well as Sultana. However, what I will say is that as the two of you storm out and you take that brief moment just to try and figure out what to do, you can see Ghazi sort of run up to you, hearing the commotion, and say, "What happened in there?"
Galasia's starting a coup, and York will pull out some of his homemade moonshine and just put it into his chest. You're on.
All right, he'll take a drink, tuck it into the pouch, and he'll draw the scimitars, and you can see they just alight in this like radiant flame. And with that, there are 3 of you. You can see Craig and you make eye contact, and he kind of points out the door for you to leave, and he will arrive when he arrives. So,
Okay.
You got to get out of here. There are knights running after you. You can see that there are also guards of Dispater. That Dispater just died in there, or he's being maimed, and you two ran out, and you're now accompanied by somebody.
Got it. How far away is Tarlock from myself at this point?
He is probably 25 feet. He has very large strides, so he's getting very close very fast, but he has 2 other knights with him.
Okay. Ooh. We're gonna get a little risque, but
Okay.
I have a plan should it not work.
Okay.
So like, so my 2 companions, do they seem more like stand their ground, or like they want to fight while leave? Like, kind of what's their vibe?
Considering they will do what you do. Ghazi, he's here fighting with you. He can't die anyway. He's not super upset about it one way or the other. Sultana desperately wants to mind walk, so she is not going to let you out of her sight because she needs to know. So they will follow your lead.
All right. So I mean, just before turning around, if I can, as like a free action before the fight like officially begins, York's gonna thaumaturgy to make his voice loud, just booming throughout the room, and pointing to Tarlock and the knights. And basically just yell, you know, Galacia has attacked Dispater, kill them all. Just in the hopes that obviously he has no authority, but hopefully the fact that there's now someone to blame, and knowing that their master has been hurt, and I imagine that they heard the crying out, hopefully that will do something.
Yeah, okay, go ahead and
Rather
make
than
it.
just them all sandwiching in on us.
Make an intimidation check.
All right, I'll take it. Does thaumaturgy give me advantage on that? I actually don't know.
I think in Baldur's Gate 3 it does, so sure.
Hell yeah. Love that we go by Baldur's Gate rules now. Changed everything. All right, let's see here. Okay, well, that was just 1. Decent, but let's try. Can we do better? Yes, 22.
Okay.
York does have his form of dread on, if that helps at all. Just in
It
terms of winning him over.
It definitely does. You look a lot more like a devil than you do a tiefling humanoid right now. You can
Perfect.
see with a 22, there's a lot of confusion happening now as a lot of the guests are leaving. A lot of them are scattered. It seems as though there's about half and half guards of Dispater attacking and half that are attacking you. So it seems pretty split down the middle right now, but is a lot better than overwhelming odds.
I'll take it. All right, then. With that, looking to his 2 companions, he's just gonna say, "Cover me." And York's gonna run up, and he's gonna take 2 swings at Tarlock. Since he's running up at him, York's hoping his sudden quick turn and just moving in on him will catch him a little bit off guard.
Okay. Alrighty. Sounds good to me. Go ahead and roll your attacks.
All right. Oh, you're fucked, son. Natural 20.
Oh, okay. Alrighty, sounds good. So go ahead and take a swing.
All right, hang on, because it's been a while since I've used the Heart of the Void. What is that one called? I'll expend a charge to deal an extra d6 damage with Power Strike.
Nice.
So let me mark that real quick. Okay, and then, yeah, we're just dropping a 3rd level spell slot right into this guy.
Okay.
No, yes, 3rd level. Sorry, I thought I had 4th level spells for a second, but it's from Heart of the Void, so I don't actually have spell slots for that. Okay, so yeah, 3rd level spell slot, so I'm gonna need to do some math real quick.
You're good.
Paladins are fun.
Paladins are very fun.
Paladins are very fun. Okay, so hang on. Wing. Okay, so I'm gonna have to do some math here. Okay, so that is... Okay, so that's 15 damage, but plus for the crit, so it's plus 10. Plus 8 from the radiant damage, so plus 18, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm just gonna do a running total here.
Yep.
So that's 33. I'm just gonna type that. Okay, 3rd level smite. Does he count? Is he a fiend? I assume.
He is a fiend. Yeah.
So that's 5d8.
Yep.
No. Yes, 5d8. So that's plus 40. So we're at 73 because we're just critting that right now. Plus what I roll. So roll 5d8. Okay, plus 18, so we're at 91.
Woo!
Plus the 6 from Power Strike, so 97. And I have to roll a d6.
Yep.
Oh, 100, right on the dot. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
Alrighty. So, with that, 100 points of damage. Woo! You can see there is this massive slash and explosion of radiant energy as most of the individuals here have to cover their eyes from the sheer radiance that is exposed in this moment. You can see that Tarlok, he sort of grabs at his chest. There is now this massive gaping wound that is just burning away of ash and dust as he just sort of grips at it, trying to shut it closed, as he says,
You will pay very dearly for what you've done.
and you can see as he's right next to you, you can see his hand turns the sickly green color as he twists it towards you. Yorick, I need you to make a Sorry, I need to see what type of saving throw. I need you to make a intelligence saving throw.
Ooh, my worst one, but it's still a plus 5. Oh no, that's 3 again! This with the 8. That sucks.
I think you have a DM inspiration if you want to use it.
I'm doing it right now. If I get a 3 again, I don't want to talk about it. Well, I got a 4, so that didn't help. It wasn't a 3 though, so I'll give the game that.
Okay. Alrighty. Man.
Such is life.
With that, as you twist into him and slash away, you can see that as his hand twists up and slams into the magic slams into your face, you can feel everything go numb, Yorick, as you take 17 points of psychic damage.
It's not terrible. What?
But in this moment, you feel yourself go into a blind rage as you feel your intelligence is shattered as he cast Feeble Mind.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was Feeble Mind.
As your intelligence and charisma score become 1.
Ooh. Not the charisma, you son of a bitch.
So, as both of those scores become 1, you still understand friend and foe. You still understand safety, escape, a need to kill, right? Those are all things that you still understand. You can't activate spells, activate magic items, anything like that, but you have your weapon, you know how to use it, you just are angry. Friend, foe.
Right.
Okay?
Got it.
So, as you are feeble-minded, you feel yourself sort of gripping with reality, trying to decipher what's happening. You can see Sultana, the Red Dragonborn, next to you, and you can also see Ghazi. The two of them look to each other, trying to figure out what to do, and you, Yorick, are not able to understand them, as you currently have no ability to understand discernible speech. But you can see Ryan, she says, "Cover me. I will try and break it." And you can see there is this flick of ice and wind from her hand, sort of causing this combustion that blows out from where the three of you are, pushing everybody back 10 or 15 feet. As you can see, Ghazi tries his best to keep them off of the two of you. And Sultana is going to pretty much come behind you, and she's going to attempt to grab on to where your temples are, and she is going to make a wisdom check. Oh no! Oh no!
Come on!
I threw my die.
No, don't do that.
Where she? Oh my God! Where's another d20? Okay, here we go. I have my metal one. Bonk.
Lol.
Okay, so with that, as you feel yourself sort of recoiling, trying to figure out, you make a couple of wild slashes at a couple of the guards that are coming near, not able to discern what your primary target is, just you need to survive. As that happens, you make a couple of slices, a couple of the guards that were attacking you fall dead. However, she rolls a 21 with her wisdom check, and in that moment, even in the chaos of battle, she casts Greater Restoration on you. And you can feel it break the curse of Feeble Mind. However, pretty much effectively losing your previous turn. So Tartlock is going to go again. Not able to use Feeble Mind again.
He casts Feeble Mind again. Fuck.
So you have your Form of Dread active, right?
Correct.
Okay. Seeing your Form of Dread, assuming that you are a fiend, he's going to cast Hold Monster, which does not work. As you see his eyes grow wide, his head is cocked, as he says,
A humanoid. What?
and with that, Yorick, it's your turn.
Yeah. You know, if it ain't broke, we're gonna swing at him again.
Yeah. Get his ass.
Oh, no, I'm just kidding. It's a 28, but that's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
Yeah, but we're gonna drop a level 2 smite into him. Oh, go to spells, Ryan. That would be more helpful. Just check that off before I forget. So damage. Reroll that. All right, cool. Give me 1 second. All right, 18 plus. This would be 4d8.
Almost the
Okay,
same
so-
damage.
35 points of damage.
35. Okay. All right, he's still standing. He's looking pretty rough. You get 2 attacks, right?
Yeah, I just didn't do 2 attacks last round when I got the crit, so I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if, since this was theater of mine, we were just doing 1. But I mean, I'll take another one.
Yeah, go ahead and take another one as you make try and make a quicker slash. See if you can follow it up.
Flat 20.
He's going to cast Shield.
I was about to say, this guy's got no shirt on. How armored can he be? But shield, fair enough.
Yeah. Well, you can see that while it looks like normal colored
No,
skin,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah.
It's like platy. It's like hard. He's got calloused skin.
I mean, just he's got a magic force field around him. I'd buy that, you know? Like, I think
Okay.
that's totally fair.
It's mage armor. That's all mage armor is.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So with a 20, you can see the shield come up, deflect the blow. Yorick, we will say that over the course of time, you probably have about 1 more round until you get overwhelmed. where at the end of the next round you'll need to leave, or else, I mean, even the greatest warrior can't hold off 5,000, guards.
Right.
So we will say that you do take a bit of sustained damage, as there are a lot of
There's
people
other
fighting
people
in here.
swinging.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So we'll say that over the past 2 rounds, you've taken 29 points of damage.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So 29 points of damage is taken over the course of the rounds. Not a lot, but it's enough to make an impact. And with that, we do come to Harlock's turn. Man. He took radiant damage, so that does not help at all. Let me... Yeah, you got him. Let me look at this one spell real quick. No, that won't do it. Okay. He will cast. But. Oh man. You're making this tough on him, Yorick.
Hell yeah. He should be scared. I'm High Hunter.
Hell yeah, dude. Targets don't get away from me.
Nah.
All right. Yeah, so what he's going to do is he is going to... He's not having a great time right now. So in the area, a 30-foot cube around you, your 2 allies, and a lot of other individuals that are currently fighting, making sure the cube avoids him, just right on the edge. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, as well as Sultana. That's a natural 1 for Sultana. And then for Ghazi, that's a natural 20 for Ghazi.
Good job, Ghazi. I got a 16, though.
16 is a failure.
Had a feeling.
That is a lot of damage. Oop. Okay. So Ghazi actually takes 0 damage because he is being undead. He is immune to necrotic damage.
Oh, good for you, Ghazi. I'm happy for him.
Yeah. Yorick and Sultana will both take 61 points of necrotic damage as he casts Abidalzam's Horrid Wilting. You can see some of the other fiends here immediately crumple up and die as they are just drained of all moisture from their forms.
Okay. I gotta end this, like, right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is it me?
It is you. You can see Sultana immediately. She takes a moment to sort of focus herself and uses her turn, as opposed to defending, to disperse some healing magic over her own body.
Fair enough.
And that's your turn.
All right, we're gonna take 2 swings at him.
All right.
That fucking 3 again.
13 will not hit.
Yeah, it shouldn't.
Oh no!
I don't think I've ever rolled 3 this many times in one
this is
game.
kind of ridiculous. This is a lot, actually. Oh my god.
All right.
So as he parries both strikes easily, what do you want to do?
All right. I mean, I know Aventahala said, like, prioritize the information and getting out, but with everything that just happened, I think Yorick feels like letting this guy live would be such a bad thing. Like, he's clearly very well trusted, he's clearly very powerful, and he's also a symbol of what Glacia could represent. And Yorick wants to damage that.
Okay.
So, wanting to make sure that this guy's dead, free action, use item, Yorick withdraws the Empyrean's judgment and crushes it in his hand.
Yeah, okay, bud.
Listen, in the middle of this, it's fucking dark. There's a lot going on. All the hells might unite against all the other planes. Seems like a pretty good turning point to where some shit should get done.
That, yeah, it's a really good idea. Okay.
You weren't ready for that, were you?
No. Keeping me on my toes. So, as you crush that, Yorick, there is this arcane radiant surge you can feel within you and around you. As the ground underneath your feet begins to crack in these radiant veins, the ground shakes and moves as there is emerging from the spot right where you crushed this gem. You can see emerging, just as the name inclines you to believe, a great and powerful celestial, an Empyrean. The most powerful type of celestial aside from the gods themselves, unaging, battle-hardened creatures, called only in moments of great need and necessity. As you crush it, you can see it looks to you and nods. And you can see its chest begin to glow as the hammer in its hand begins to glow even brighter. As it looks to you and then looks to Tarlok. And you can see Tarlok just in great panic and fear. You can see he's going to attempt to cast teleport. But you can see that as he does, the Empyrean just raises his hand, counterspell, 9th level. It's done.
It's not that Tarlok's like, who the fuck is this guy? He's not a devil, he's a humanoid. He pulled out and who the fuck is this?
And you can see that as the thing is, as the teleport is dispelled and is counterspelled, you can see the Empyrean look down on him and say,
Your judgment has come. You are unworthy of this pitiful life you currently live.
and you can see the hammer raise up, and as it crashes down, it's not the bludgeoning force, but the radiance from the hammer as it slams down, melting away Tarlok. And as the hammer crashes into the floor, you can feel much of the Iron Tower begin to shake and rumble. As many of the guards around, from the radiant dawn that emanated from it, they dissolve. You can see some of the smaller, lesser fiends, imps, bone devils, chain devils. You can see, just seeing the Empyrean, they shield their eyes, they run away, inspired by fear. You can see the Empyrean look to you and say,
You have freed me. Tell me, would you like assistance in escaping this infernal place?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Very well. Then I will assist. And then I will return to my home.
And you can see as he says that, there is one of those knights that runs up behind him trying to slash, and you can see that he just swings the hammer behind him and just dissolves the knight that was running up behind him. As he continues, not missing a beat.
Then I will guide you to where you need to go.
Is he heading in Call's direction, I assume?
Yeah, you can see that the Empyrean just begins to move, leaving this trailing, this trail behind him of fire and radiance, just illuminating and burning away any shred of shadow that is in this place. As your walk out of here is quite easy.
Yeah, an Empyrean will do that. If I may, before we end up leaving.
Yeah.
Just glancing back to where the Archdevils, Glacia, and everyone else was, just... Has anyone come to investigate what the fuck just happened? Because I'm sure they all felt that when it showed up.
Yeah. You can see that deep within the chamber, maybe 200 feet from where you are, you can see as the Empyrean begins to leave, you can see the corpse of Dispater removed from his throne and is currently being ripped and torn apart to shreds by the different imps and devils that exist. You can see standing just atop the body is Glacia. And for just a brief moment, surrounded by the radiant fire that you are and surrounded by the blood and gore that she is, she sees you. And it seems as though she recognizes you. But chooses not to act in that moment. As fighting an Empyrean isn't a good idea for anybody.
Spay, what a coward! You know, fair enough. Alright, yeah. I think knowing that he's been recognized, yeah, Jorg will just kind of give that smile. You know, kind of point at her once, and then turn and head off.
Okay. So with that, you leave. You can see as the Empyrean gets out of the Infernal Court, returning back to the exterior of the city of Dis, you can see the Empyrean's form begin to grow. Where it was just Goliath-sized, right, a very large humanoid, you see it begin to grow and grow and grow until it is gargantuan, a titan that towers above the city. You summoned the Empyrean here, and you can see this is a place of infernal evil. You summoned it on top of the Iron Tower, a monument to Dispater's rule. You can see as the Empyrean stands in front of the walls, as you, Sultana, and Yazi exit. You can see the hammer peels back one more time, and like a hammer swinging into a gong, it slams into Dispater's tower. Cracks begin to form. The tower begins to shake. And eventually, with two more strikes, the tower begins to fall, crashing towards the surface like waves on a rocky shore. Dispater's monument to his greatness crashes to the city. You can see devils, imps, Aranyeses, great devils. They fly away. Some teleport out of the ruins before it can collapse and destroy them. You can see Kal eventually appearing near you, Sultana, and Gaza. Gaza decides to part ways with you there. He does not need to be removed. As he goes to step away, he is enraptured by flame, same as you've seen some of the other devils do. And you can see Sultana and yourself are grabbed by Kal, and flame enraptures you. The last thing you see is the Empyrean this beacon of light and hope, shedding this immaculate, overwhelming dawn over the city of Dis. Eventually, its body begins to pale and turn opaque as it ascends to the heavens, to where it was meant to be all along. As you reappear, you are outside of the city of Dis, a fair way, near the dock of the River Styx. You and Kal and Sultana look upon the ruins smoldering with white, radiant energy.
About that, does Sultana seem upset at what just happened? Because she definitely got a lot more than she bargained for with that whole thing.
No, she is, you almost... Actually, you can kind of see her, like, putting puzzle pieces together as she looks to you and says, "So then you do know Emerald."
Yeah, I've recently met Solvis.
Sorry, for the time that I knew him, he was Master Emerald, and Emerald was always easier. But yes, Solvis.
No, everyone seems to call him that. It's weird.
To each their own.
Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't warn you about that.
Did you know you had that?
I mean, I knew I had it. Did I know that's exactly what it was going to do? Looking at, like, the destruction of the tower and just, like, everything? No. No, that worked much better than I thought it would. Better's the word I'm going to go with.
That is fair. It is not a sad day when the Iron Tower in the city of Dis is brought to its knees.
I think it's flat on its back.
It does look like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I am thankful, for one, that you would have... that you were here. Otherwise, I'm not sure I would have been able to escape.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you were here too. No offense, I kind of want to get going, but I owe you something before we go. Is this going to take like a super long time? Because I think some people might be looking for me.
We can do it on the river.
Oh, do you have a coin? Because it costs.
I do.
Oh,
yes.
Good. All right.
Okay.
Yorick will pay the boatman.
Yep. So with that, the two of you board, and you are back on the River Styx.
Just like teleport away, basically.
Yeah, he bids you
Okay.
farewell, and he looks forward to the next time that you summon him in battle.
Yeah, I'll tell you what happened later.
He just
I'm sure you have questions.
looks to the ruins and looks to you and just nods. Yep.
All right.
Okay. So as the two of you sit on the rowboat, trailing down the River Styx, she says, "As I said, this shouldn't be painful at all. The only discomfort you might feel is reliving certain memories. Whether they be mine or yours, it's hard to keep the two separate when we connect.
Okay.
I just want you to know before I do this, for anything you see that I've done, know that I do feel remorse for it."
I'm going to say it plain and true, Joe. Do I believe her?
Make an insight check.
All right. was about to say, if I go roll a 3, I quit this game. 23.
Oh, that was really funny. It rolled 2 and 3 and then rolled 2 and 17 on my end.
I was gonna... Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, God. That's so funny. So
but hey, 3's led to that badass finale, so maybe I should be grateful.
Yeah, hey, you know?
Maybe 3's a good omen.
Yeah, maybe. First is the worst, second is the best, third is the one with the treasure chest. So
there we go.
There you go. You do believe her. There is a great deal of sorrow. But it's strange. With a 23, what you can gather is there's sorrow, but almost with a twinge of it's not like I could have done anything differently. Very I don't want to say destitute, that's not the right word, but almost like I've given up in that sort of
I did
phrasing.
what needed to be done.
Not even. Just it was I had no choice.
Got it.
I didn't like it, but I had no choice.
Okay. Hey, look, I get that. And I can't promise I won't have, like, a reaction, but, like... Because I don't know what I'm going to see, no offense. But, like... I get it, I think. I hope that makes sense. I don't know.
It does. Thank you.
Can I ask one thing before you do this? I mean,
That's
like...
only fair.
What are you hoping to see, exactly?
If I'm being honest, I don't know. I've been searching for so long for answers. I thought I found them in Brahmsgrove, but I don't know. And all I found there was heartbreak.
Yorick nodding, even though he doesn't understand what any of that meant. He's just like, alright, that's probably the best I'm gonna get. Okay. Fair enough. You didn't know me an answer anyway, but I'll take it. Alright, cool. Yeah. I guess I'm ready when you are.
She'll nod. And with that, you can see she begins to mutter words under her breath. You can see she begins to move her hands, twisting them and turning them. You can see these sigils begin to shape and appear, which from them sprout thread. Thread rises from her hands, and it wraps around you. It's nothing you can feel, it's just that you can see it. You can feel these threads connect you in different ways, some stronger than others. But you begin to experience flashes of memories. Some are your own. One of your many sisters' birthday parties. Your coronation as High Hunter. The events of the first tourney. Finding the party initially. Your journey through the Astral Sea. All happening in flashes, but so incredibly vivid as if you were living them again. It's incredibly disorienting because you keep hearing the creaking of the boat and the shifting of the oars. In the Astral Sea, you see the void you entered. You see Emerald. You see the Forsaken. You see Emerald's Sanctum. When you get to Emerald's Sanctum, there is a flash, a cut. Emerald's Sanctum, but different. Where in this one there are scrolls and books scattered, an archmage's laboratory. Instead, what you see is a decadent divine hall, braziers illuminating the walls, a training ground. You see two people sparring. a red dragonborn wielding a quarterstaff, and a bronze dragonborn wielding 2 swords. Sparring back and forth, Emerald coaching them, talking to them, guiding them. Cuts back to your memory. Cuts to Emerald speaking with all of you about his promise, about what he needed to do. It cuts again to her, that bronze dragonborn standing in front of her, telling her of a promise he made to Emerald. He didn't want to do this, but she gave them no choice. It cuts again to the 2 of them. Once again, the bronze dragonborn and the red dragonborn. You see the bronze dragonborn in a ruined temple, still burning, corpses littered around his feet. You see, he says, I had no choice. I had to. I had to do it. Countless dragonborn lie dead at his feet. You can feel the sorrow and anguish that builds within her. You then feel another snap. You see Emerald once more. In the ruins, this time different though. An Emerald you've only heard speak of. I don't believe that Yorick has had any interaction with this Emerald. Different. You can see he kneels next to Sultana. He gives her words of comfort, but the memory's blurred. It's almost as if she wasn't listening, she wasn't hearing. There is one thing you do hear, though. Seek out Glacia. Find her. Aid her. She will serve us well in the war to come. My child, you did what you had to. Suni had to die. Do not blame yourself. Now come. We must ready. You can see he helps her up, leaving the bronze dragonborn's corpse behind. As you can see, vines grip hold of it and pull it underneath the earth. As you can feel the threads snap, one after the other. Wait, there. You know Emerald? Does he know of Glacia? Did he speak of me? You seem to be allies with him. I mean, you've been in his sanctum.
Quick question.
Yeah.
What's her vibe right now? Because, I mean, she's also saw everything that happened, both her memories and mine. So she knows that we ended with, like, hey, you should side with Glacia, someone who, I mean, she doesn't know, but clearly Yorick took just a big swing at it a second ago. Does she seem nervous sitting across from him now all of a sudden?
No. She does not seem nervous. Your passive insight leads you to believe that. Make an insight check for something that lies deeper.
Ooh. Hope I roll a 3.
Wouldn't
Nope.
that be a fitting?
It was a 2. I thought if I embraced it, it would reward me. It didn't. It made a bigger joke. All right, so she's not nervous, but I can't read anything else. Okay.
Not anything else. Yeah, she's not nervous, but there is just a stillness about her.
So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but Emerald never mentioned her, correct?
No.
I mean, Yorick's had one conversation with Emerald.
Yeah.
One. You literally saw everything. I've spoken to Solvis just one time. He didn't mention you, but maybe the others, he mentioned it too. I'm new, so he might not trust me as much of them, I don't know.
But you... You are allied with him. That much you can attest to, correct?
Yeah.
And do you believe that if he learned of this potential sabotage of Glacia, that he wouldn't be upset? You saw
Well-
my memories. That's what he told me to do, to come here.
Okay, question. Yorick has been filled in that the Forerunners believe there's 2 different emeralds, right? Like,
I
he
think
got
so.
told about that. At least I don't know why they wouldn't tell him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's come up.
Okay. I will say while they're talking, not in a threatening way, but Yorick's just going to take his glaive and kind of like lay it across his chest. He's going to do the bonus action from the Heart of the Void to start healing himself because he kind of got messed up. Actually, no, hang on. He's just going to dump all of his lay on hands into himself.
Oh, there you
yeah,
go.
he'll do that. That's smarter. Yeah, plus 55 HP. Thank you very much. Okay, yeah, he's looking great now. But, yeah, so he'll explain to the best of his ability, because obviously he has had 0 interactions with this other Emerald, but he will explain that there's kind of something weird going on. Emerald doesn't have all of his memory. He thinks there's 2 of them. The one that... And Yorick will say, like, yeah, the one that... Yeah, I saw with you... He doesn't really talk or act or dress like that. So I think you met the other one.
Then... Okay. All right. It's a lot to take in. But you believe this beyond a shadow of a doubt that that's the truth?
Yeah, I mean, again, the others know better than I do, but they wouldn't lie to me. So they believe it, at the very least. And yeah, the Emerald, it's gonna take me a while to get used to that. The Emerald that I met, yeah, he would never want to ally with someone like Glacia. Especially because I just saw, her buddy talking to Mesden Kelnos, which is a whole nother problem I have to go deal with. Oh, he's a Forsaken. Do you know what the Forsaken are? No? Okay,
No.
I don't have time. Well, actually, how long of a boat ride is this?
You maybe have another hour left.
Alright. Brief rundown. Dark One, Forsaken, Parido, Finch, End of the World. Yeah, so, we got a lot on our plate. It's not a big deal.
Could you do me a favor?
Sure.
If you
That's
ever...
a favor.
Hopefully it's simple.
Okay.
If you ever encounter this Emerald that you know that you've met, is there perhaps someone in your group that knows the magic of sending?
Yes, absolutely.
I know it is a lot to ask, but could you inform me if you encounter him again? I have many questions for him. Many that have gone unanswered for many, many, many years.
I mean, do you want us to send to him and tell him to try and talk to you? Because, I mean, I don't know when we're going to run into him again. Just being honest with you.
I have
At
time.
least see if the name means anything to you.
I think that that is fine as well. I don't know. I feel strange right now. I feel like I've been forgotten by someone who promised that would never happen. And that is something that has happened to me too many times in my lifetimes.
I assume there's some weight to those words, that like she seems very sad or hurt to that.
Yeah.
Hey, and he'll just extend his hand. Yorick Nasine, High Hunter of House Nasine.
House Nasine of Macavia, correct?
The same.
Well, it's wonderful to meet you, Yorick. I am Sultana Yasmin. I claim to be from Odero, but it just makes it easier to get into the Nine Hells. Because of the breach, and it doesn't matter, but
Oh, I'm not gonna criticize you on lying. Trust me. I motions back to the city.
Yeah. She chuckles at that.
I was trained by Emerald. And in fact, I think that, as far as I remember, it all blends together, but I'm pretty sure the first life I had was with him and Suni.
Well, I'm not gonna pretend to understand what's going on, because I wouldn't fool you for a second, trust me. But I don't know what happened about all these different emeralds and what's going on. If I can ask, like, what do you want? Like, ideally, putting aside, like, what's logically gonna happen, what's realistically gonna happen, just, like, if you got to determine everything from right now moving forward, what do you want?
You promise you won't judge me?
Nah. I mean, yes, I promise not to judge you. Sorry, that was some Kavian slang.
She does laugh a little bit at that, but the sort of sallow nature returns to her face, and she says,
I just want... I want a death that's permanent. I'm tired. Every time I come back, I remember everything. And every time he comes back, he knows nothing.
Suni?
she nods.
I'm tired.
I can't speak for, the Emerald from your visions, but the one that I've gotten to know, although it was very brief, I think he's someone who, if what someone wants is good and doesn't harm anyone, he seems to be the kind of guy that tries to help people get what they want. If you talk to him, I think he'll do his best to at least try and help you.
Okay.
I'm a pretty good judge of character, so, you know, just keep that in mind.
I suppose that's right. You did decide to go into that awful place with me, so...
And I befriended our scimitar buddy.
Yes, I have, I've heard a great deal of Gazi, and, hopefully it's not the last time I encounter him. He seemed very good at what he did.
Well, if you ever go to him and need help, just have some food or drink from the material plane, because that went wonders. I'll just tell you that.
All right. And she'll smile at that. And right at that moment, you feel that thick fog cloud overwhelm the boat as the realms shift from Dis to Avernus. As Yorick, you can see you approach the dock. Sultana still sits on the boat with you, but awaiting, you see Aventahala.
Oh. Where are you going next? As Yorick kind of stands up looking down to Sultana.
Well, I think that, for me, the last time you saw Emeril, it was in his sanctum, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know one way into his sanctum was near Afera. I may go there next. See if I can pick up on his trail.
All right. Are you staying on the boat, or does it go to the material plane?
It doesn't
My
go to
first
the
time.
material plane, but I have some connections in Pandemonium that can get me closer to Afera.
Got it. Yeah, Yorick will offer a hand to shake.
Yeah. She'll return
Good
it.
luck.
Thank you.
Hope you find what you're looking for.
Me too.
And with that, Yorick will step off the boat and head towards Aventahala.
With that, you can see Aventahala looks down towards the boat, towards Sultana, and looks back to you and says, "Well, seems as though you've made a friend."
I make friends everywhere I go. People love me.
Very true. So, is the deed done?
Yeah. A little bit of overkill, to be honest.
What do you mean?
And since we literally just played it, he's going to explain what happened, just for the sake of brevity.
Her eyes, with every sentence of the story, just get wider and wider and wider and wider.
I think we should see this as a good thing.
I simply cannot believe it. I know you're
good or a
telling the
bad way?
truth.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know it was gonna do that. I thought, like, I'd get, like, a burst of, like, holy divine power, and, like, I'd be able to keep fighting for, like, a little bit longer. I did not expect that.
Well, it got the job done, and what I can say is Dispater did not like me very much, which is why I was barred from entering his realm due to my past with Osmodeus. So perhaps that'll change now.
Also, I think we should take this as a big win, that I think when people look back and they think about Glacia basically just declaring herself the future overlord of hell, they're going to think about the destruction of the Iron Tower and how everyone responsible for it got away while she was right there. I don't think that's going to make people remember that moment fondly.
I think you make a very good point, Yorick.
At the very
While-
least, I don't think they'll be quick to go to her side.
No. While unconventional, I think it was a good outcome.
You can see she exhales and just takes it all in.
Yeah, tell me about it. I feel the same way.
Well then, I suppose you'd like to return to your companions then?
Yeah, but we need to talk first. I don't think you and I can keep each other in the dark anymore. Right?
Right. I agree.
So I have some questions, and I'm not going to make you do anything, because you know I can't. But it'd mean a lot if you just told me the truth. Glacia. Is she yours?
Yes. Glacia is the daughter of me and Osmodeus.
I had a feeling. Does she have... And I'm sorry, I know this is probably a stupid question, but... no love for you at all?
No, because I did not learn of this fact until very recently. It was something Osmodeus removed from my memory. So that way the only guide she had was him.
How'd you find out? It was just... last time you talked about Glacia, you almost seemed not terribly bothered about it, and then before you brought me here, just her very name, you changed. I don't know, and it just made me wonder. So how'd you learn? What happened?
After your companion Eurydice destroyed his material form in Wheat Hill, he was no longer able to protect his keep in Nessus. Many people raided it, taking his valuables since he had not the strength. I myself took a gander through his hallowed, hellish halls, and I found the Hall of Memories. Different individuals he had killed, or souls he had captured. And there I found mine. I discovered what he took from me, and how long it has been apart. That is why the change happened.
I'm sorry. Can't even imagine.
It is not your fault, and I hope you never need to know that pain.
You're a friend in the City of Pain, friend, that you sent us to talk to. What was the memory you showed him?
The memory I showed him it was the only one I had that I thought was worth sharing. Most of my life as a devil has been miserable. Most devils love the world they live in, the manipulation, the bureaucracy. They all care for it so much. But the memory that I gave up, I thought would fix that for me. A memory of me happy. In my grove. With him. Before everything turned sour. It was so poignant. It was what I thought was holding me back from being a great archduchess that I could have achieved, but no. Giving that up just made me feel more empty.
Of all the memories he had, it shined the brightest.
I'm sure it did. But there is not much we can do about that now.
There actually is. I told you we couldn't keep each other in the dark, and that didn't just mean you hiding things from me, but me not sharing everything with you. I told you a while ago that my friend and I used a spell to try and learn more about you, who you were. And I told you about some of the potential futures that we saw. There was one when you were human again. I believe back in your grove.
Really?
I wouldn't joke about this.
Well, I'm assuming you have no idea how it got there.
But I'll try and figure it out.
Good. And I will do everything I can to help you and your companions survive.
Can I tell you something I think you need to hear?
She looks, waiting.
I think you're scared. I think you're scared that after hundreds, thousands of years down here, I think you're scared that you've even become 1,000th of what Osmodeus is. I think even after all this time, all this suffering, I just don't think your heart's into it. I don't even think you can trick yourself to want it. When you told me about the part of me that's you, I heard how you talked about our future. You talked about finding someone else to hold on to it and compelling me to watch over them. There was disgust in your voice. I think even if it came down to it, I don't think you want to make me do anything. Because I think the last thing you want to do is be like him. And I think it's why you're stronger than anyone else down here. Even if you don't see it.
You flatter me, Yorick. And I hope you're right, because a great deal of strength is what we're going to need. Because if Glacia has the plans she does to destroy Osmodeus and take over the Nine Hells and do whatever plan she wishes, then there is one person that myself and you and your companions will need to speak with. I know he isn't dead. Regardless of what she said, he still lives.
Keeping him alive is what's going to keep the Hells divided, isn't it?
It is.
I have a lot of work to do.
And a lot of convincing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not going to be a fun conversation.
No. If you think it'll help, I can be there. But
No offense to you. Probably not.
she nods.
No offense. Just being honest.
None taken.
Alright. There's one last thing before I head back, if that's okay.
She nods.
You talked about, eventually doing enough damage, keeping a tight enough grip on this place that, you could keep the Hells and the Abyss going at each other and they left the material plane alone. Is that something you still think is even possible?
I mean, yes. With enough fuel added to the fire, the Abyss and the Nine Hells will be at war until this existence slowly starts to unravel.
Before we came down here, I made an offer to take your place. It was the tip of the spear, more or less. Let me keep searching the material plane. I know a lot of very smart, powerful, and wise people who hopefully can help you. And I know you don't want to be like Osmodeus. So if me taking your place is something that you think would help, don't let me finish. Then don't compel me to do anything. When that moment comes, ask me. And we'll talk.
Only if there is no other choice. All right. Very well. She nods, and the silence lingers for a moment, and then she says, well, I believe you need to be returned to your companions, then. Is that correct?
Yes. Have you been keeping an eye on them by chance?
Yes, I have. Things are not very good in the material plane right now.
Oh, great. Great. I was hoping for some good news when I got back. Should have expected.
In a very unfortunate moment when I scryed on Nalfian in particular. He was in the Grove of the Green Lady, surrounded by shadowy apparitions of Malice and some of the other Forsaken.
Oh, that's bad.
Then, suddenly, even through the scrying eye, I heard it, but he and every other person there, assuming on the material plane if you did not hear it, heard the Dark One echo out in a horrifying chorus. To hold dear to all you love, for soon it will be no more. And then shortly after, same as what you all saw in the astral sea, a crack formed against the sky. Whatever is in store for you and for us and for them in the next couple of years, I truly hope we're ready for it.
Yorick's gonna hesitate for about a second, and then he'll reach down and he'll very gently grab her hand with his own and kind of clutch it for a second. Let's face it together, whatever it is.
Let's. And with that, Yorick, cinders and ash circle around you as you fade away from her grip and apparate in a place where you least expected. But on that note, that is where we're going to go ahead and end
Not even a tease.
in the session. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Thanks so much for Ryan for playing. Hopefully you had an easier time getting back into your... Yeah, you threw me a curveball there. Wasn't anticipating that. Pretty cool, though.
Dead. He's dead.
Yeah, and so is the entire city of Dis.
Sorry
oops.
about that.
That's okay. No, you just
destroyed a side quest there. Fuck.
You destroyed a lot of Forgotten Realms lore there, so that's cool.
Sorry.
That's fun, yeah. So thanks so much for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. Be sure to tune in next Tuesday for the Salamander Coast, next Wednesday for the Tales of Iverion, and next Saturday for the return of the Isles of Iverion. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.